A very good evening, friends. I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 13th May 2024. Here are the list of articles which we are going to discuss today. Let's get started. Look at the science edition of the Hindu. It states that the instances of malaria risk may decline in the future in Africa. With this backdrop, let us understand about malaria and Yaoundé Declaration from preliminary perspective. Firstly, what is malaria? See, malaria is a mosquito-borne blood disease caused by Plasmodium parasites. There are several species of Plasmodium parasites which can cause malaria. The most severe type is called Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium vivax. Okay, now let us see how malaria gets transmitted. See, mosquito is transmitted through the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. These mosquitoes bite primarily between dusk and dawn. Know that the transmission can also occur through blood transfusion, organ transplantation, or the use of shared needles or syringes which contains infected bloods. Okay. Now let us see what are the preventive measures. See, no malaria vaccines has met the WHO's efficacy benchmark of 75%, but a vaccine named RTS got WHO approval despite its lower efficacy of around 30 to 40%. Know that RTS is the first malaria vaccine which was developed by collaboration of the GlaxoSmithKline and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Know that Ghana and Nigeria have given approval for the RTS vaccine for their use in their countries. Moreover, Oxford University along with the Serum Institute of India has developed a vaccine called R21 which recently got WHO approval. See, it is also similar to RTS vaccine. Now having seen this, now let us see what are the global efforts to eliminate malaria. Firstly, Global Malaria Program. See, it was launched by WHO and is responsible for coordinating global efforts to control and eliminate malaria. See, its work is guided by Global Technology Strategy for Malaria 2016 to 2030. Secondly, E2025 initiative. See, in 2021, WHO launched the E2025 initiative to halt the transmission of malaria in 25 identified countries by 2025. Now, let us move on to see about Yaoundé Declaration. See, recently, Yaoundé Declaration marked a significant milestone in the fight against malaria as health ministers from 11 African countries pledged to end the malarial death. While progress against malaria has stagnated in the WHO African region, the 11 African countries which involved in the Yaoundé conference accounts for 70% of the global malaria burden. See, the declaration aimed to strengthen the health infrastructure, expand personal capacity, and enhance the implementation of the program. They also seeks to foster partnerships for funding, research, and innovation. Okay, now let us see the 11 African countries which involved in this declaration. They are Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Mali, Mozambique, Niger, Nigeria, Sudan, Uganda, and Tanzania. Know that these countries account for over 70% of the global malaria burden. Okay. Now, the Yaoundé Declaration reflects an unwavering commitment to fight malaria, including a pledge by African heads of the state to allocate 15% of their annual budget to the health sector strengthening. Here, the key focus include addressing the root cause of stagnation of malaria, enhancing the health infrastructure, personal capacity, fostering the multi-sectoral collaboration, and holding countries accountable for their commitments. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, in the first part, we saw about the basics of malaria, and in the second part, we saw about Yaoundé Declaration to fight it. With this basics, now let us move on to the next news article of the day. The next discussion is about auroras. See, recently, pictographic representation of the auroras were witnessed across the regions of Australia, Europe, and America as captured in the Indian Express. With this backdrop, let us understand the basics about auroras from the preliminary perspective. So, firstly, what are auroras? Auroras are natural lights that appear in the sky. The auroral lights are only visible during the night sky. Know that it usually appears in the lower polar regions of the earth. Note that if auroras occurs in the southern hemisphere, they are termed as southern lights or aurora australis. On the other hand, if it occurs in the northern hemisphere, they are termed as northern lights or aurora borealis. Now, let us move on to see how auroras are formed. See, aurora occurs when an electrically charged particles like electrons or protons collide with the gases which are present in the upper atmosphere of the earth. See, when the charged particles collide with the gases, it produces the tiny flashes. These tiny flashes appear like colorful lights in the sky. This is what we term as auroras. Okay, now let us see where this charged particle comes from. See, these charged particles are coming from the sun. As we know that sun is made up of electrically charged particles like electrons and protons. These particles continuously flow from the surface of the sun to other planets which are present in the solar system. This phenomenon of the flow of charged particles from the sun is called solar winds. See, solar winds are continuously flowing towards the earth also. But most of the solar winds are blocked by the magnetic field of the earth from entering the earth's atmosphere. But from time to time, solar wind gets stronger and penetrate through the earth's magnetic field. So, the stream of particles in the solar wind interacts with the gases which are present in the magnetic field. This in turn generates magnificent auroras. Okay, now coming on to see the coloring pattern of auroras. See, the auroras can appear in the variety of colors like green, red, blue, yellow and orange. But know that the color of the aurora vary depending upon the altitude. And more so, it also depends upon the kinds of atom which involve in the collision of the electrically charged particles. Let me give you an example. If a charged particles collide with the oxygen atoms at the higher altitude of the earth, then the interaction produces a red light. On the other hand, if the particle collide with the oxygen at lower altitudes, it produces green-yellow lights. Then, if the particle collide with the nitrogen atoms, then it produces reddish or bluish lights. Similarly, if the charged particle strike with the hydrogen or helium atoms, it can produce blue and purple auroras respectively. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw elaborately on the basics of aurora, where it is coming from, and the coloring pattern of the auroras in a brief. With this basics, now let us move on to the next news article of the day. This news article provides an in-depth analysis of India's agricultural export performance. It also highlights key factors which are influencing the sector and proposes policy interventions to address the challenges and enhance competitiveness. See, this is the crux of the news article which is given here. In this context, let us learn few points from this article using our mains answer writing discussion. See, this topic will be asked in GS paper 3 under the syllabus which is mentioned here. Let me read out the question for you. Identify the major issues agriculture is facing in India and critically analyze if recently launched schemes are able to address these issues. See, this is a straightforward question in which you have to write about the major issues in agriculture in the first part, and then you have to write about what are the schemes recently launched to address these issues. See, this is how we are going to address this particular question. In the introduction part, you can write some of the facts about agricultural sector in India. You can write like this: the agri and allied sector gross value added is estimated to be about $275 billion in financial year 2023, contributing to 15% of the nation's total GVA. See, this sector has shown a growth rate of about 4% CAGR during the 5-year period ending financial year 2023. See, the agricultural sector of India saw nearly 148 million employees in the financial year 2023. Despite its potential, it still faces certain challenges that should be addressed through policy intervention and enhancing competitiveness. See, this can be your introduction. In the main body part, in the first part, you can write about some of the challenges faced by agricultural sector. They are, firstly, the prevalence of small and marginal farmers. See, according to 2015-16 agricultural census, small and marginal farmers in India own less than 2 hectares of land and accounts for 86.2% of all farmers. See, this fragmented landholding makes it difficult to implement mechanized farming practices, achieving economies of scale, and undertake sustainable land management practices. Secondly, around 49% of the total net sown area is under irrigation, which means 51% of our agricultural land remains at the mercy of monsoon. When monsoon fails, groundwater is exploited, leading to its depletion. See, according to a 2022 government assessment, the rate of groundwater extraction in the historic breadbasket states of Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan is more than 100% due to unsustainable use of water resources. Thirdly, low productivity due to lack of proper infrastructure. See, most of the agricultural produce is wasted due to non-processing and no forward-backward linkages to the agricultural produce. See, due to inadequate infrastructure, more than 30% of the produce from the farm gate is being lost. Then, farmers often face price volatility with fluctuations in the input cost, crop prices and market demand affecting their income. See, lack of access to transparent and remunerative market exacerbates the market distress for the farmers. Finally, lack of ability by the farmers to directly market their products leads to low profit and cornering away the profit by middlemen without any value addition. See, these are the major issues faced by agricultural sector in India. Okay, now moving on to the second part of the body. Here, you have to write some of the schemes which were launched to address the issues. Firstly, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi or PM Kisan. See, it's a central sector scheme launched to supplement the financial needs of the landholding farmers. Under the scheme, financial benefit of 6,000 per year is transferred in 3 equal 4 monthly installments to the bank account of the farmer's family across the country. See, this is done through direct benefit transfer mode. Till now, 2.81 lakh crores have been transferred through direct benefit transfer to more than 11 crore beneficiaries through various installments. Secondly, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. See, it was launched to achieve convergence of the investments in irrigation at the field level, expanding the cultivable area under assured irrigation, improve on-farm water efficiency to reduce the wastage of water and enhance the adoption of precision irrigation and other water-saving techniques. See, it also works to enhance the recharge of aquifers and introduce sustainable water conservation practices by exploring the feasibility of reusing treated municipal wastewater for peri-urban agriculture and attract greater private investment in precision irrigation system. Thirdly, Agri-Infra Fund. See, it was launched under Atmanirbhar Bharat package. See, AIF was introduced with a vision to transform the agricultural infrastructure landscape of the country. See, it's a medium to long-term debt financing facility for investment in the viable project for the post-harvest management infrastructure and community farming assets through interest subvention and credit guarantee support. Then, to check the prices for agri-producers, MSP was launched. See, it's a form of market intervention to ensure agricultural producers against any sharp fall in the farm prices during bumper production years. See, the MSP are announced at the beginning of the sowing season for certain crops on the basis of the recommendation of the CACP. Finally, the National Agricultural Market or ENAM was launched to promote better marketing opportunities for the farmers to sell their produces through online, competitive and transparent price discovery system and online payment facility. See, it's actually a pan-India electronic trading portal which networks the existing APMC's mandis to create a unified national market for agricultural commodities. Recently, the government also launched the Central Sector Scheme for formation and promotion of 10,000 farmer producer organization, FPO, etc. See, the scheme, it aims to enable the farmers to enhance their bargaining power, leverage economies of scale, reduction in the cost of production, and enhancing the farmers' income through aggregation of their agricultural produce, thus playing a major role towards sustainable incomes. See, you can write all these points in the second part of your answer. Finally, in the conclusion part, you can write like this. See, in essence, while recent schemes represents the significant steps towards addressing the multifaceted challenges which are faced by agriculture in India, a holistic approach that integrates policy interventions, technological innovation, institutional reforms, and stakeholder participation is necessary to ensure sustainable and inclusive agricultural development. See, only through concreted efforts and continued evaluation of these initiatives can Indian agricultural sector truly thrive and contribute to food security, rural livelihood, and economic growth. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, in the first part, we saw about the challenges which are plaguing the Indian agricultural sector, and in the second part, we saw about the steps taken by government to address this. With this basics, now let us move on to the next news article of the day. Look at this Indian Express article. The article discusses the development and problems in the tribal areas of Jharkhand, particularly focusing on the Birsa Munda's birthplace, Ulihatu, and nearby areas around the election time. It mentions some improvements like new road, schools, but says that people are unhappy because many of the basic needs like electricity, water are still not met. This article says that there is a very little excitement about the upcoming elections because people are skeptical that politicians will not keep their promises. We know that Birsa Munda and Munda Rebellion are frequently asked in the UPSC exams, so let us revise them for the upcoming prelims exams. First, let us see his early life and background. See, Birsa Munda was born in 1875 into the Munda tribe in the Chota Nagpur Plateau, an area today known as Jharkhand. Growing up during the British colonial period, Birsa witnessed the profound disruption to tribal life due to the British policies of land and administration. This early exposure to the colonial oppression influenced his later actions and leadership. Now, let us see his efforts towards religious and social reform. See, Birsa founded the Birsite sect, reacting against the missionary activities which aimed to convert tribal to Christianity. This religious movement was both a form of spiritual revival and a socio-political platform. It encouraged the tribal people to return to their roots, abstaining from alcohol, maintaining cleanliness, and rejects the foreign religious influences. Birsa's teaching helped solidify a sense of identity and community among the tribes, which was crucial for the collective resistance. Now coming on to the important event, Munda Rebellion. See, by the late 1890s, Birsa emerged as a charismatic leader. He aroused his people against the British and the local landlords, which are called Dikus, who were exploiting tribal lands. This rebellion, known as Munda Uluglan or Great Tumult, was characterized by widespread mobilization under Birsa Munda's leadership. Note that this was asked twice in the preliminary examination. Now moving on our discussion. See, in this rebellion, they targeted the structures which are symbolizing the oppressions like attacking police stations, churches, and the property of landlords and moneylenders. This movement aimed to establish Munda Raj envisions a society free from oppression and based on traditional tribal governance. Now let us see how he was captured and death. See, the British recognized the threat posed by Birsa, eventually captured him in 1900s. His arrest was done under dramatic circumstances. He was sleeping with his guerrilla fighters in the forests of Chakradarpur. Birsa died in the British custody under suspicious circumstances, officially attributed to cholera, which demoralized his followers and thus led to the gradual decline of the rebellion. Despite the rebellion's suppression, Birsa Munda left a lasting legacy. His struggle highlighted the plight of the tribal communities under the British rule and forced the colonial authorities to reconsider their policies. For example, the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1908 was a direct outcome which restricted the transfer of tribal lands to the non-tribals. Birsa Munda is revered as a hero and a martyr in the Indian states of Jharkhand and Odisha, symbolizing the fight against injustice and the resilience of tribal spirit. See, this is all about Birsa Munda. With this basics, now let us move on to the next news article of the day. Look at this Indian Express article. It talks about India's trade statistics with its major trade partners. See, in this backdrop, let us analyze India's trade partners with respect to different products in a brief. So guys, this comes very handy in answering the economic trend-based questions in the preliminary examination. Let's get started. See, India's overall foreign trade exceeded $1 trillion in November 2023 with the exports of $422.23 billion and imports of nearly $625.87 billion USD. See, the largest trading partners of India is the United States of America with a total trade volume of over $71.39 billion in 2023 and a trade surplus of more than $24 billion USD. Secondly, China is the second largest trading partner of India with a total trade volume of more than $104.32 billion in 2023, although it has a considerable trade deficit of $77 billion. See, the list of largest trading partners of India are UAE, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Indonesia, Iraq, Singapore, Hong Kong and South Korea. Here, it is important to note that India's major exports are pharmaceuticals, textiles, gem and jewelry, while the major imports are crude oil, machinery and chemical. Also know that according to India trade data, India's external trade deficit was $203 billion during the first 11 months of current calendar year. However, it has fallen by $40 billion over the same period the previous year. Let's now see India's top trading partners in an individual manner. Firstly, United States. See, United States is India's largest trading partner with a total trade volume of over $71 billion in 2023. Know that US is the major source of imports for India, including crude oil, machinery and chemicals. Moreover, India's major exports to US are pharmaceuticals, textiles, gem and jewelry. Secondly, China. China is the second largest partner with a trade volume of $13.6 billion. Know that China is a major supplier of electronics, machinery and chemicals to India, whereas India's main exports to China are iron ore, cotton and marine products. Thirdly, United Arab Emirates. See, UAE is the third largest trading partner of India with a total trade volume of over $28 billion. See, UAE is the India's major source of crude oil and natural gas. India's main exports to UAE includes petroleum products, textiles and rice. Fourthly, Saudi Arabia. See, Saudi is the top trading partner of India, accounting for nearly $9.69 billion in the total trade in 2023. India largely buys crude oil and natural gas from Saudi Arabia, resulting in a trade deficit of $28.93 billion. However, India does export pharmaceuticals, textiles and rice to Saudi Arabia. And then Russia. See, Russia is a major trading partner of India, accounts for $44.37 billion. See, India largely imports fertilizers, diamonds and defense equipment from Russia, resulting in $2.8 billion trade imbalance. However, India does export pharmaceutical, tea and spices. And lastly, Indonesia. See, Indonesia ranked 6th with $35.95 billion in trade, has a more balanced relationship with approximately equal exports and imports. See, India largely exports pharmaceuticals, grains and electrical machinery and imports coal, palm oil and paper products. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about India's trade relationship with major trading partners. With this, let us move on to the next news article of the day. This text and context article talks about the DigiLocker platform. So, let's revise the basics about them. See, the DigiLocker platform was launched in 2015 as a part of Indian government's paper-free initiative. It operates as an app to store the user's digital records like Aadhaar, insurance policy, PAN card, driving license and educational certificates. It serves as a convenient tool for the individuals to manage and present their official documents in an electronic manner and thereby reduces the need for carrying physical copies. See, as of early May, the app has over 270 million registered users with nearly 6.7 billion documents. Now, having seen the basics, now let us see the benefits which are offered by the DigiLocker to several users. Firstly, with respect to convenience. See, users can access their documents anytime, anywhere using the DigiLocker app or websites, thereby eliminating the need to carry physical copies. Secondly, with respect to security. See, the platform employs stringent security measures like encryption, multi-factor authentication and security audits to safeguard the security of the user data. Thirdly, validity. See, documents which are stored in the DigiLocker are considered equivalent to the physical counterparts as per the rules of Indian government, thus making them legally valid for any purposes. However, despite the advantages, DigiLocker faces some challenges like accessibility. Users who are not familiar with the smartphone or digital platforms find it very challenging to use the DigiLocker, thus requiring the assistance for setting up and navigation. Secondly, data matching. See, users with the discrepancies in their personal information or document details may encounter difficulties in retrieving the documents from the DigiLocker due to stringent data matching requirements. Thirdly, uniformity in acceptance. See, different government agencies and authorities may have varying acceptance policies for the digital documents via DigiLocker, leading to inconsistency in its usage across different contexts. Regarding passport applications, while DigiLocker is not mandatory, some passport officers may encourage its use to expedite the application process. However, the implementation of the policies can vary, with some officers accepting only physical copies of the documents. Therefore, applicants are advised to carry both physical copies and digital documents which are stored in the DigiLocker to ensure compliances with the requirements of the respective passport officers. To sum it up, DigiLocker serves as a valuable digital platform for storing and accessing the official documents, offering convenience and security to the users. However, its widespread adoption and acceptance across various government agencies remains subject to challenges like accessibility and uniformity in the usage policies. See, in this discussion, we saw about the basics, advantages and challenges of DigiLocker from the exam perspective. With this basics, now let us move on to the next news article of the day. Now we shall see some other articles which were in the news. Look at this article. The Indian government plans to spend 2 crore per kilometer to build roads along the China border under Vibrant Village programming. See, this initiative aims to improve the connectivity in the border areas of Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Sikkim, enhancing the infrastructure and encouraging the residents to remain in these strategically important regions. Now with this, let us see the second other article of the day. Look at this article. This article discusses a report from the judicial panel led by retired Justice Brojendra Prasad Katake. See, it highlights the poor progress in addressing the environmental damage caused by rat hole mining in Meghalaya. The panel also criticized the ineffective use of funds allocated for the environmental restoration and noted that ongoing issues like acid mine drainage from the abandoned coal mines. Additionally, it mentions the ongoing audits to track the unaccounted coal use and recommended further actions like drone survey to identify the illegal coal deposits. With this, now let us move on to the next part of our discussion, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today I am having 3 questions. I will discuss 2 of them and 1 will be the quiz question for you to solve. Now let's start solving. Consider the following statements regarding malaria. Let us see the first statement. It's caused by Plasmodium parasite which is transmitted to human beings through the bite of infected female Anopheles mosquito. See, first statement is correct because in our discussion we saw that malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasite which gets transmitted through the bite of infected female Anopheles mosquito. Let's see the second statement. The most common type of Plasmodium parasite that causes malaria in humans is Plasmodium falciparum. See, this is also correct as we have seen in our discussion. Let's see the third statement. Malaria is primarily a viral infection. See, this is wrong because we know that malaria is caused by protozoan parasite, not a virus. So this is incorrect. Let's see the fourth statement of the question. Artemisinin based combination therapies or ACT are recommended by WHO as a first line treatment for uncomplicated malaria caused by Plasmodium vivax. Let's see the veracity of the statement. See, this statement is false because ACTs are recommended for the uncomplicated malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum, not Plasmodium vivax. So the correct treatment for the Plasmodium vivax malaria is a different regimen. So here, eliminating C and D, the correct option is option A. Now let us see the second quiz of the day. Consider the following statements. Statement 1 says that India accounts for 32% of the global export of goods. Statement 2 says that many local companies and some foreign companies which are operating in India have taken advantage of India's PLI scheme. Okay, let's check the statements. See, statement 1 is incorrect because as per the data available in Economic Survey 2020-23, India accounts for 1.8% of the global export of goods and 4% of the global export of services. Thus, this statement is incorrect. Let's see the second statement. PLI scheme is a form of performance-linked incentive scheme given to companies based on incremental sales from products which are manufactured in the domestic units. So this statement is correct. So the correct option is option D. The quiz question based on today's discussion is displayed here. Interested aspirants can comment the correct option in the comment section. The mains question based on today's discussion is displayed here. Interested aspirants can write and get back to us. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you.